Hello, everybody. Welcome to BG Addicts playthrough of Pool of Radiance. Um, Apologize for not any recent post to the channel here lately. I've been down with COVID for about a week, so I'm feeling a little bit better. Gonna start this playthrough of Pool of Radiance, which is one of my favorite games. It's a game that was released by SSI back in 1988. That was way back when I was 17 years old. One of my very favorite games from when I was that age. So wanted to take you for a playthrough and maybe go over some tips and strategies and just talk about the game in general. So we're gonna start a new game, and we're gonna be creating a new party. And we'll go over that. Go over the what I recommend for a good party makeup to make the game a little bit more doable. It is a challenging game. It's uses old first edition Dungeons and Dragons rules, which by nature are not very forgiving. Um, I spent most of my time growing up playing with first edition pen and paper, um, so I know it fairly well. It is kind of antiquated in some of its mechanics. However, there are some things that I think are better in first edition. Some things I think weren't better in first edition. So we'll get into some of that. But we're going to go ahead and start creating a party and go over what I recommend for a good balanced party for this game. We're going to start by creating a character. We're going to go with a human fighter, and we're going to all go neutral good. I tend to choose neutral good. I do have a reason for that, which I'll go into here in just a little bit. Now I do not use any kind of hacks. I do use the gold box companion. I don't use that for the cheating, the character hacks, or the character modifications. I only use it for the quality of life enhancements that it has, which are really great. Um, but I know that on most YouTube videos you see on this game, most people will go in and just roll all their stats up to 18. They say that it balances because the game adjusts to that and makes it more challenging with higher stats. That is true to an extent, but it's not really. I don't really think that's the truth. The reason being is because yes, the game will adjust to random encounters based on the character's level and stats. That part is true, um, but the set encounters do not. They're constant no matter what your party makeup is or what your ability scores are. Um, and in the game, the most challenging encounters are not the random encounters. Those are not the encounters that's going to stump you and cause you to reload 5 times. It's the set encounters that are the most challenging. And when you bump all your scores up to 18, it really gives you an unfair advantage. It makes the game too easy, in my opinion, so that's why I don't do that. But let's get into character generation for my first fighter here. And I will probably repeat this many times through this character generation, character creation video. Your most important stat in this game, in my opinion, is dexterity. It does more than just adjust your armor class, and that's a huge thing in this um, low level module. Um, it determines initiative for your characters. The characters with the higher dexterity most of the time will go first and be able to move before your adversaries will. So it's very beneficial, in particular for mages. The mages getting initiative, a lot of times, I'd say, excuse me, a vast majority of the time, will swing the battle one way or the other. So you definitely want your mages to get a jump. All your characters get a jump on the enemies, but particularly on your mages. So we're gonna. One other thing to keep in mind when I'm rolling a character, especially my fighters, is I always make sure that they're capable of being dual classed. You can't dual class and pull a Radiance, but when you get into Curse of the Azure Bonds, as long as your character has a 15 or better in the primary attribute of the class you're dueling from, and a 17 or better in the primary attribute of the character that you're dueling to, you can dual class. That means you're basically changing classes. Once you exceed the level of the second class of the first class, then you regain the abilities of the first class, and then you become basically you then you have the access to the abilities of both classes. And until you reach that level, you only have the abilities of the second class that you dual class to. Very helpful when you get into Secret of the Silver Blades and Pools of Darkness. And I apologize if I'm having a little trouble talking. I'm still a little under the weather. COVID is no joke. And it's going to take a while to roll these characters, so if you don't want to sit here and watch me roll and re-roll and re-roll, you can skip through to the second episode and just go from there. However, I will be going over party composition in this video. Because we're not modifying our characters or we're changing the stats or anything, we're going strictly with rolls. It tends to take a while. Although I don't hack my scores, I do want good rolls. It is helpful with a fighter to have 18 strength, and then you qualify for the exceptional strength bonus in first edition, which is basically a percentage score anywhere between 1 and 100. Females, that was the thing about in first edition, female characters were capped out at 1850 strength, and male characters were capped out at 1800 strength. They stopped that in second edition. It makes perfectly good sense to me, but I guess they were trying to be politically correct and did away with that in second edition. I don't think there's anybody that can argue that a male is capable of a higher maximum strength than a female, and that may not be the politically correct thing to say, but I think it's a biological fact. If not, wouldn't have separate sports for men and women, which I think is very important to have. That's a topic for another day. That's not a bad. That's not a bad role. However, he would be able to dual class to a thief later on, but I would like to have a better strength. No. That'd be a fighter that could dual class into a mage or a thief. No. He would be able to dual class into a mage, however, that dexterity and constitution is not doable. Not a bad roll, but not dual classable. Pools of Darkness is very, very tough, so it's very important that you leave your options, keep keep in mind what your goal is as far as later games. You don't want to create a party that's gonna hit a wall in pools of darkness or even secret of silver blades. Non-humans have level caps in first edition. They can't level as high as humans can, which is another reason to go for human. If you don't keep that in mind, you'll end up in pools of darkness with that's a 40 level 40 cap. You'll end up with 30 level fighters and a human fighter, and you'll end up with a 8th level cleric. That's not good. You won't be able to survive Secret of the Silver Blades with that kind of level. No, it also your hit points there. You're also rolling that. This system is also rolling your beginning gold. Beginning gold's not important. Hit points are fairly important to start with, but it's not critical. Nope. Okay, there's a 1885 strength with a 17 dexterity, so he would be able to dual class into a thief. So that's not bad. I think we will keep that just in case we don't get anything better. So we're going to keep this character and we're going to name him Paris. Now these goofy character portraits, these only stick around with you for the first game, Pool of Radiance. You won't. They do away with them in Curse of the Azure Bonds. They are really horrible, downright goofy. But try to make something here that we don't mind looking at for the entire game of Pool of Radiance. Okay, so we're gonna change our icon, weapon. Give him just a sword. There we go. And change the color of his sword there. And body, I'm gonna make him light brown. Give him blonde hair. You these icons they're very customizable, and you can come up with some really stupid combinations. I tend to go for solid colors. And you can alter these later if you something's just not quite right with it. If you want to change it later, you do have that option. Yeah. And again, I apologize for sounding so stuffy. Um, this is the first time I felt like really getting back on my computer in quite a while, over a week. Okay, so we're going to keep. That looks good. Let's go with that. Add him to the party. And his hit points aren't bad. His dexterity 17, constitution 16, should have decent hit points. Will have really good bonuses to hit and damage rolls, so that's a good thing. Okay, let's create a new character. We're doing another human fighter. Male. Neutral good. He could dual class into a mage. I think we can get a better roll. Okay, there's another one, but not the constitution's too low, and he could only dual class to a thief, which we've already got a better character that can do that. 17, 18, he could dual class into a mage, and that's actually not a bad roll because of the dexterity and the constitution. One thing to keep in mind, if we were rolling a mage, anything above a 16 constitution is wasted on any non-fighter class. Only the fighters get benefit from having a constitution of 17 or 18 or higher if it's a dwarf. Uh, let's see. Do we want to keep that? Unfortunately, in this game, unlike Baldur's Gate, you don't have the option to save a roll to come back to it later. So if you scroll past it, it's gone forever. So a little bit on the bubble with this character, this roll. I think I'm gonna keep rolling. Mostly because of that strength score. You will find items in the game to boost your strength. At least 2 or 3 items that will. Okay, no. Nope. That's not bad. But the dexterity is too low. Like I said, that is a very critical stat. So any kind of low dexterity will cause me to pass on it. If you're if like I said before, if your mages have low dexterity, you're going to end up getting an opportunity to act later in a round, and by then you've probably gotten hit with missile weapons, which you'll lose your opportunity to cast a spell, and that's not good. This is not a bad roll. Uh, if I was wanting a thief, but the character I already kept already has better strength. So, however, that's not bad, but we're gonna keep rolling. He doesn't really have what we need. In the first edition, that would have been a very good roll, very good character to roll up with those stats. Not a bad character to dual class in a to dual class in a thief with that dexterity of 18, but Constitution's not up to par. And you really only need one character that can dual class into a thief. But I would definitely advise that you do have one that's capable of dual classing into a thief. You could dual class into a mage, but really would like higher dexterity for a character that's going to dual class into a mage. Nope. It's not bad, but there again, can only dual class into a thief, and his constitution is not good. Now that's doable. We've got 18 strength, 1871, so that's pretty good. Intelligence 17 will allow us to dual class into a mage. Dexterity of 16, that'll give us a little bit of a bonus to our armor class, and 16 constitution. That'll give us some bonus hit points. So the hit points aren't great, but we can roll with that. Yes. And we're going to name him. What are we going to name him? Marlin. That's fine. Okay, so we're going to. Let's see. Parts. Change his head. We'll give him a beard. Weapon. Let's give him a two-hander. Like a pole arm. One thing you'll notice in first edition, Gary Gygax was crazy about pole arms, so there's a ton of them. You got like 6 or 7 different types of swords, and you got like two dozen different types of pole arms. So we'll go with that, and let's make his dark. Let's see, gray arm, gray leg. Make that gray. This is personal preference. I prefer mostly solid color icons for the most part. Let's go back and change his hair color to black. There we go. That's good. Okay, so we've got a character that can dual class into um, dual class into a thief, a character that can dual class into a mage. So let's create human male fighter. And let's see, lawful good will be fine. We're going to try to come up with a character that can dual class into a cleric. So we're looking for a 17 or 18 wisdom. That's not a bad character roll there. Look at overall, but doesn't fit our needs, so we're going to keep rolling. Nope. And when we get done rolling these characters, I'll go over the makeup of the party and um, why I think it's the most balanced party for Pool of Radiance. The mechanics of this game are very clunky, but that's just due to being released in 1988. We were all dealing with DOS at that time. One thing I don't really understand about the rules changes as it went up into second, third edition was all the hate towards Thaco. I think Thaco's very simple to understand. It's not. People make too much out of it, It's not bad, and it's really not changed that much. It's not hard to understand. To hit armor class 0, you need to roll a 20. If you're hitting a creature with armor class of 5, you need to roll 15. That's not difficult to understand, but it seemed to a lot of people just hated it for some reason. I have rolled so many of these characters, and I can tell you, for some reason, it is almost impossible to roll a fighter with an 18 wisdom. It seems like it is. For some reason, this game does not want you to have a fighter with an 18 wisdom, and I don't understand why. But it is what it is. About the best you can hope for is a 17. To my knowledge, there was no negative modifier to wisdom rolls for a fighter in first edition. If there was, I'm sure I would remember it. There's 17 wisdom, but it's not high enough strength. I have found that rolling a fighter that can dual class into a cleric is probably the biggest challenges during character creation that I've run into. Just getting one that qualifies is not easy. No, and you've noticed all these rolls, no 18 wisdoms, none. That one will qualify, but the dexterity's low, constitution's crap. We're not doing it. That one would qualify. Dexterity and constitution's both crap. On this character, I would take a low strength as long as it's at least 15. If it gave me a high dexterity and constitution. Nope. 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 Be a good thief, except no hit points. This kind of defeating the purpose. Although it would be a good thief when we dual class. Really looking for a 17 wisdom. And we see a 17 pop up, then we take a look at strength next, and then we look at dexterity and constitution. Oops, that was a good. I don't know if it had 15. It had higher than 15 strength though. Clicked right through it. Not high enough strength. Nope. Nope, not high enough strength. Be a lot easier if it would let you roll 18. I just rolled through a 17. Be easier if it lets you roll 17 or 18 wisdom instead of just a 17. He could dual class into a mage, but that's not really what we're looking for at this point. Like I said, this is going to be the hardest character to get an acceptable roll of any of our characters. It shouldn't take this long on the last three. And if you don't want to sit and continue to watch me do this, you can actually just fast forward through if you like. Let's see. So, yeah, I'm not going to take that. Constitution too low. Good constitution, terrible dexterity. Um, hmm, no, I think we can do better. Dexterity 16. Constitution is not good. But I think we're going to keep this one. We've got a really good strength. We got 17 wisdom, which we got to have. We've got a 16 dexterity, which is not terrible. And our constitution's a little low, but we can deal with that. So we're going to keep this character. And we're going to name him Roland. Goofy. Goofy portraits. And it's because he's going to be a cleric one day. We might as well just go ahead and go with that. Parts. Head. Even though he's got low constitution, at least he had a good roll for hit points to start with. Mm, didn't mean to do that. We'll go back through all this when I start the actual um, playthrough. So we can fix this by turning around. Just disregard all of this. This is not gonna. So what we're gonna go here and remove. We're gonna exit to DOS. Restart the game. Okay. Alright, so we're back to where we were, so we're going to add our characters to the party, which, let's see, yeah, Paris, Roland, and then Marlon. I think that's the correct order. Yes. Okay, so let's go back to where we were. We've got fighter that can duel into a thief, fighter that can duel into a cleric, fighter that can duel into a mage at a later date. All right, so now we have our three um, fighters that are capable of dual classing into um, mage, cleric, thief. So we've got our bases covered there. So now this is, and like I said, this is going to be our my suggestion for a well balanced party. Um, we're gonna You can play this game without a thief, without I should say without a character with thief abilities. However, I do like to have a thief. And one thing about thieves, uh, they're the only class that's not capped at a low level by not being human. So it is okay to have a multi-class thief. I prefer to make that a dwarf, even though dwarves typically are not your best thieves. They have a higher maximum level in fighter than the other classes do. As long as your strength is 18, I think it's capped at 11, and your thief is unlimited, so he'll still be gaining levels after well into the end of the series with Pools of Darkness. Once you reach your maximum level in fighter, though, your experience is going to be halved because it's still going to split it between fighter and thief, even though you're not able to gain any more levels in fighter. Um, the caveat to that is your thieves have lower experience points requirements to gain levels than the other classes. It has the lowest of any class, so it won't kill you for that to be the case. It'll set you back a little bit. One thing I do not advise, and I strongly do not advise, rolling a pure class thief. There's only a couple places in this game where you even need a thief at all, and thieves are pretty much a waste of a spot. That can be better used, in my opinion, with a character that can fight and has an ability to do some damage. So, not that thieves can't fight; they can backstab, but more often than not, it's hard to do on a regular basis. You can do it. I mean, it's not that difficult, but you want a character that can get on the front line because a lot of times your fourth slot is going to start in contact with an enemy. Is going to be adjacent to an enemy, and you don't want a thief there. Not wearing leather armor. So let's create dwarf, male, fighter, thief, and neutral good will be fine. For some reason, it's first edition. I don't know if I can't remember if it was a thing in first edition. I do not think it was. But Pool of Radiance will not let you roll a thief with a chaotic good alignment. And if you have a chaotic good fighter that you plan on dual classing and Curse of the Azure Bonds into thief, and his alignment is chaotic good, you're going to be extremely upset when you try to do that because it will not let you do it. You've got to have a neutral good alignment if you're playing a good aligned thief. So let's try to get us a thief with a good dexterity and a decent constitution and a good strength. That's all we're looking for. Dexterity and constitution is not good enough. Nope. It's not bad, but I think we can do better. There's 17 dexterity and 18 constitution, but he only has a 15 strength. Um, that's actually not bad because the thief is going to be using missile weapons most of the time. And actually, that's kind of tempting to take that role, even though I like to have a higher strength. We will find a gauntlets of ogre strength before too long, so yeah, let's just go with that. And I'm gonna name him Rolf, which is also a name of a character that'll meet us at the docks when we first start the game, but he has no major uh, role in the game, so it'll be okay. Why not? Okay, so we want to go. Let's see, exit parts weapon. Just make him thiefy looking. There we go. One hair. We're gonna give him white hair. Why not? And then okay, so we'll go with that. Add him to the party. Okay, let's take a look at him again. 15, 15, 17 dexterity, and 18 constitution. So that'll help us with our hit points, help us with our armor class. So that'll be good. He's just gonna need some help with his strength at the first time we get a chance. So I think all these guys had over 18. Yeah, these guys have exceptional strengths. Okay, now here's my second biggest tip for creating a balanced party, and this character will not be of any use to you after Pull of Radiance, but it's immensely helpful in Pull of Radiance, and that is a cleric magic user. And always, let's see, it'll have to be a half elf. I believe that's the only one that's capable of being a cleric magic user. And you'd want to avoid. You don't want a let's see. You don't want to go through three classes like a cleric, fighter, magic user. All that's going to do is slow your level progression down to a crawl. Just go ahead and just make a cleric magic user. And we can make lawful good. And we're looking for a 18 dexterity. Absolutely no less than 17. Having a very high dexterity on your mages will make or break the battles for you. That's not bad, but even 16 dexterity's a little bit lower than what you want. There's 18 dexterity, 15. Should actually have a little bit of melee ability, but let's just keep going. I think we can do better. Looking for 17 or 18 dexterity, and then we're looking at intelligence and wisdom. Nope. Going through the YouTube videos that are online with this game about character creation, I've never heard one mention the importance of dexterity on a magic user. But if you don't do that, trust me, you're going to be wishing that you did listen to me later on. It makes a huge difference in the difficulty of the battles. Constitution on this character is not going to be critical, or strength. I don't really care about that either. She will be standing back slinging darts when she's not casting spells, mostly at sleeped enemies. I've heard folks, some of the videos on YouTube with character creation for this game with spellcasters saying you need to make sure you got a high constitution. It's not true. If your mages are getting hit in combat, it's not gonna make a difference whatsoever whether your constitution is 18 or 16 or 3. You're in trouble at that point. Keeping your spellcasters safe is a top priority, and getting having them get the initiative also. Okay, so there's still not high enough dexterity. Nope. I want 17 or 18 dexterity. That's actually not a bad roll. Because like I said before, anything over 16 Constitution does not help non-fighter classes, which is what she is. Um, we could actually make this character work, I think. And we're not going to be keeping her past Polar Radiance anyway. I'm going to name her Sylvia. She's half elfish looking. Uh, she's a manicurist cleric magic user. Okay. Okay, so it's fine. Weapon. That's fine. And let's see. Let's go with for blue. For some reason, I like my cleric mages to be primarily blue. Alright, that looks good to me. Alright, so there's our cleric magic user. Our last character is going to be a magic user. Create new character, human. And one thing to keep in mind when you or going into Curse of the Azor Bonds, you will want at least one character that's a female. Uh, it's not crucial, but it does help a lot. So let's make our magic user a female. Actually, lawful good will be fine because we're not going to be dual classing her into a thief. Okay, no, we need 18 dexterity, preferably if it'll let us roll at 18 dexterity. There's 18 dexterity, but intelligence is not high enough. Definitely want to hold off for an 18 dexterity. This is going to be our primary crowd control character. Nope. 18 dexterity and 18 intelligence would be wonderful. I could really don't care about much of the rest. 16 constitution would be good, but it's not critical. Nope. Nope. Intelligence is too low. Intelligence too low. Intelligence is too low. Intelligence is still too low. And I know that looking for an 18 dexterity is your primary attribute you're looking for in a mage is kind of unconventional. But in this game, like I said, it is very important. Even if both of your casters have a 16 dexterity, you're going to struggle in some battles. Nope. 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 Even though, yeah, nah, that's not gonna work. No. I want 18 dexterity on this guy. Nope. Intelligence too low. Nope. If he has an 18 dexterity in most battles, He's going to be the first one to move. I wish that was an 18 dexterity. No, no. I know I'm looking at 17s too, but really want an 18 on this guy. No, that wasn't a bad roll, but there again, I want 18. Intelligence too low. Nope. Hmm. Nope. Intelligence is too low. If I'd been a 17 intelligence or even a 15 intelligence, I would have taken it probably. There we go. Bingo. I'm glad I didn't click through that one. That is perfect. He won't be able to dual class, but that's okay, because at mage I'm probably not going to anyway. So keep this character. Yes. Female human. So what do we want to name her? Um, what's a good female mage name? Anamar would be a good name. Or let's say Annalyn. Yeah, that's a good mage name. Sounds like an antibiotic, but that's alright. We'll go with that, even though it's stupid, goofy as hell. We'll go with that anyway. Alright, keep parts. Long hair. Well, let's go with that. And weapon. Our last mage had that one, so we will go with this one. And I know what color I want her to have. What's this? That color. There we go. Arm. I normally have a male mage. That's my primary mage, but we're gonna switch it up a little bit this time. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, let's do that. That looks very acceptable. Yes, let's add Adeline. Okay, so let's see what we got so far. We've got a neutral good fighter that can dual class into a thief later on. We've got a fighter that can dual class into cleric later on. Lawful good. Constitution, not jumping up and down about that, but this one is a fighter that can dual class into a mage later on, and it's got a decent dexterity and constitution. Next up, we have Rolf. Excuse me, is our fighter thief. Got really good dexterity and constitution. Strength leaves a lot to be desired, but that's okay. We got a clear magic user that we're going to use only in Pool of Radiance, as far as I know at this point. She's got good dexterity, halfway decent intelligence, wisdom is okay, constitution's the maximum to give her the maxed constitution bonus for a non-fighter. Then we've got Annalyn, which is our primary spellcaster. She's got 18 dexterity, 18 intelligence, that which is the best you can possibly hope for your primary magic user, and also has a 17 constitution. And what I like about that is if she was to ever get leveled or ever get killed, I could actually raise her. In first edition Dungeons and Dragons, anytime your character was resurrected, this was different than all the other editions. You permanently lost a point of constitution, which makes very good sense to me. But it was done away with after first edition. But we could res her one time, and it would have absolutely no bearing on her max hit points at all. So I'm happy with that character. Very happy with that character. Okay, so we're all set. To start the game, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and end this video at this point, and when we come back, we will go over the start of the game, what you need to do before you head off into the first area, which will be the slums. To clear that area, we'll go to the talk about the commissions and the city hall and all that, and equipping your characters, which of course is very important. So we'll when we get back, we'll get started with that. And I want to thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a great day.